Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I'm going to do a couple of kind of side cutter comparisons on this solid core 12 gauge wire, and then also work with trying to loosen up a pair of pliers. This has come up several times, and it came up again with my super lube video where people were wondering, you know, what do you put inside pliers, or is there something? And somebody wondered about a polishing compound or a valve grinding compound. Yes, you can do that, but I've done it. You just have to be careful, and I'm going to go through it and try it actually with these old Wilmars here. But first, kind of a comparison. These are Knipex's two versions. This is the 70-02-160 and the 70-02-125. So basically the bigger one, or the medium one, if you will, I guess, and the little one. You know, this Klein, since they came out with this thing, this J2000 Journeyman Series one, I guess, turned all of these into the smaller, the standard size. I've also got a couple of snap-ons here to compare, and a Craftsman. But anyway, this is pretty stiff wire, and using the small ones, I'm going to drop everything right down by the joint. You can see that this is not particularly close. If you look, in fact, this larger one here, the joint might actually be closer than this little guy here, from here to the center of the jaw there. But anyway, so just putting this in, dropping it down. I'm just guessing at the strength. Not a lot. You could do that quite a bit. The shock wasn't too bad. If I go to the little bit larger one, it's a little bit softer click, and a little bit less. Snap-on, this is their new Vector Edge one. Nice and clean. So this one's even less, of course, larger handles. Go to one of the older Snap-ons. I think this is the 87 BCP. That's still pretty smooth. A little bit of a snap compared to that. Old Craftsman here. That one's got takes more squeezing, and there's a significant pop. And then of course these giant J2000s, they're like butter. You could go all day long. The problem is they're big, they're heavy. So these, even the small ones, definitely anything down to 12, which begs the question, do you need really large ones? You know, if you're going to be cutting that for a living, maybe, but you can just snip through this stuff. I would probably go with maybe a little bit bigger one, just less pop, but this certainly is a workhorse. And you're pretty much always down at the bottom here, so all the work, you know, is going to happen in the little bit lower part of the jaw. So you don't really use this much unless you've got a, you know, particular task. And you can cut, you know, sheet metal or leather, cardboard, wood, you know, thin wood, if you want to snap on other things here. But so let's take a look at actually trying to smooth out a pair of pliers. This one's really stiff. I mean, really stiff. You see that? If I pull it out, pound it back in. Now, what I usually do is throw something out here just to cover that. Need a workspace here. What I usually do, if I'm really serious about it, you can squirt all kinds of stuff in it, but I'm going to actually, in this case, put some polishing compound in. I don't have any valve grinding right here. You can use a heavy-duty rubbing compound too. And what you want to do is work it into the jaw. But you don't want to work it in for very long. If it starts loosening up, you've got to get it out of there before you get to that, or before you get to that optimum point. Otherwise, if you quit when it's just perfect, the act of trying to get the compound out of the jaws is going to take it beyond perfect, and you're going to end up with a loose pair of pliers. So what I'm going to do is first open these things up, and they are rock solid. I don't know how well this is going to work. I'll try this stuff here. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit on here, and then I'm going to use WD-40 as basically like the vector to try to get the compound into the mechanism that's stiff. Can barely close those things, so I'm going to see if I can work it in there. Got to get this one, might be a little bit too stiff for a heavy rubbing compound, but we'll see. Let's try a little more on this. Getting there. Try to get that in some other spots here. I can feel it inside there. I almost should take this further. All right, so I'm getting, anyway, this is what I would do. Get it to the point where it's really close. Look at that. It's not falling. Maybe a little bit more. Wedge it in those cracks there again. Feel it kind of grinding. Okay, so now I've got it a little bit more loosened up, and then what I would do is start trying to work this out. Usually I'd have it over a little bit better bucket here, and then keep working on trying to get it out. Sometimes I'll even run them under hot water to try to clean that off. Gotta wipe it down because I'm working it back in. But anyway, if you need to do it again, that's easy, but you can't go too far, because if you go too far, what ends up happening is you end up with a let me shut that off. So anyway, what happens is you end up with a loose pair. But see, I can go back in and fix that. I just need to keep working my compound back out of the jaws. Get that out of there. But anyway, that's what I do. And it works pretty well. If it's not super stiff, you could just use, some polishing compound like that. Try a little bit. Pour some in here. If I can get it out of there. Come on. Yeah, it's whining. It doesn't want to come out. There we go. This one will get in a lot easier with the WD-40 as the kind of the host solvent there to drive it down in there. It's getting there. Just keep working it. When you see that oozing out around the kind of the center rivet there, my focus there, that's a good thing. It means it's worked down into the joint. And it will keep doing that for quite a while, so it takes a long time to clean these up. But getting there, look at that. So just need to wash them out now. Don't want to go too far or you'll get rattle on the sides, and I've done that to pliers, and it's kind of a bummer if they're good pliers. Did it to a pair of snap-ons. I got excited and kept going and going and going and got to that perfection, but I couldn't get the material out fast enough before it just took it a little further. But anyway, that's what I do. And what's better is if you can just buy pliers that behave. And with that, dock out.